call to order the golf course committee meeting. This is Tuesday, September 9th. It's 9:04 a.m. in the public safety training room. First order of business is approval of the prior meeting's minutes. All to approve, second. Good.
Yep.
Right. On to continuing business. Let's see, so the cart paving project, you awarded it to McNulty. What's happening?
Yeah, it was, I didn't award it, the town awarded it to McNulty, and I talked to them yesterday, they're still doing the scheduling on it. When they
Okay.
gotta come in.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have any update on the irrigation.
Yeah, the bid's out,
Right.
and I think it's the 17th, it's due. Of September. I can't remember if that's the pre-bid or whether it was due, but around the 17th, there's should be know the vendors. If there's any available.
Okay.
And along that point, the irrigation, I'd like to request that somebody or somehow we start looking into the water source, which is at minimum okay, which would be a 2-inch feed off town line for 4-inch feed. And with beginning of the project, I informed them that they need to tap into a 8-inch line to provide a 4-inch feed. Even to the pump house, but since we're not having a pump house, that 4-inch feed is still important to put in. And I don't think there's been any action on that. So I didn't know if someone here can, where that starts getting some, some traction and start, working to getting that that approved or whatever it takes to get that installed. Whether it's the town, they have to outsource that, I'm not too sure.
So is that something I would ask Mark Purple or DPW?
Could be DPW.
Sam?
Mark's probably-
Or I'll ask Sam who I ask.
Still kind of, CPW superintendent. He's
Yeah,
in
what the
charge of
process
water
is
system.
there to get that, but they are aware that was part of the original project with the pump house.
I haven't heard that discussed by DPW, but I don't hear all their discussions, so.
Okay. Okay.
So it's something that I should ask Bill,
Sure, reach out to him and
just see where, if he's looked at.
he apparently is familiar with the idea and knows it's coming, so.
Yeah, I talked to him previously, but I think
So
so.
the question, I guess, is, we're moving on it. What's the plan for getting that connection constructed and ready when we need it? And then he may go back to Mark if there's a budget issue or something there, so.
Okay. Moving on.
I tried to come to this meeting on Zoom and was unable to, by the way.
Oh,
Just FYI.
okay, because I had just let you in
You did?
Or-
When?
just now.
Oh,
I'm still figuring this out.
okay.
So I should,
I prefer to do it on Zoom, but because I have work people at my house, but I
okay,
kept raising my hand and no one was answering, and I couldn't hear you.
okay. So I should remove you now. Tony. Tony is there too. Tony, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, so
We
if I
can
go-
definitely hear you. It's not your fault.
If I go home, can you allow me in? Then?
Yeah, actually, I didn't have to do
Because I
anything.
kept raising my hand and trying to hear, there was somebody making a comment to you and I,
Yeah,
hear what-
someone was explaining to me how to use everything. That
Oh,
was
okay,
before
yeah.
the meeting even
Oh,
started. Just
okay,
this is the first time using this Zoom tablet that sets it up.
Okay, so I have people working at my house right now and I just raced over here, so I'm gonna go back home. If you can give me your phone number so I could text you and say it's not working or it is working,
Sure,
okay?
781-254-1533.
1533. I'm calling you now just so I have it in my phone.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Continuing on, the third green and fourth tee fencing.
Well, hope she gets home in time. Yep, I've contacted the contractors. They are very slow getting out here. Very slow getting the bids back because they had to combine. So one of them, I had both fences. Now they have to combine them, so it's a little bit different. And then when I was re-evaluating, looking at, what you were looking at, I had some questions, and I think it's, for one thing, the architect I didn't give you a plan or anything. This is
Right.
based upon what the town wants. Not personally how I would do it. And again, I don't want to be the person responsible for putting it up. I think we need to have someone to go out there and see exactly how we want the installers to install it and not wait. Because there is some, there's actually some elevation changes. And I just want, again, if anything, I think it's best for the town to make a decision how they want it exactly put it in and almost do a rough sketch.
Okay. So you
Because
think
right
that we
now,
should go
there's
out there?
There's an elevation change. Yes, we did go out there, but I couldn't recall how you wanted it set.
Okay,
And I'd rather have a plan that I can show the contractors,
okay,
just so that they are, they are understand what has to be done. And exactly whether you want to offset something or you want to go by contour, what it is the 12-foot fence. You just want a 12-foot fence where it goes like this, it's
Oh,
12
right,
fence,
right.
or do you want this where it's 14 feet here and we have to put something underneath it?
okay,
How you want it visually. These are some questions that I prefer to have answered by the committee or the town, whether it's, DPW, how they like the fences. And because again, I'm just here short term and the fence is gonna be here long term, town's always gonna be here. So, I'd rather have that decision made by the town or the committee,
okay.
whichever is most appropriate.
But John, you said it's not how you would do it, did you?
No, because everybody has their own view of how things done. I get in discussions with Bill all the time, how things should be done, all the time. He's always, for some reason, like my wife, always opposite. So no disrespect,
Yeah.
but it's just that way, which, again, my wife and I married 35 years, so we just asked, and then had a fight, so that was.
A lot of compromise there.
Yeah. Yep, so, again, I think it was just something that just came up when I was talking with, other people is that, hey, I better make sure that this is what you want.
Exactly, what we want. Okay,
Yeah, and it's just so there's no, again, I don't want to be in the middle of something because when I was over there looking already, I saw somebody else and someone asked me a bunch of questions, which case I just deferred.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to, again,
yeah, I know, and you and I were talking about it, like, right, where we were questioning about the gate and whether we wanted a gate or whether we wanted to do an
There was no
offset
gate.
or,
that's what you.
Yeah,
you
so
had
we
said
had
the town
kind of-
said.
we had talked about to no gate, just from a perspective, keeping people from going through the gate to chase their balls into neighbors' front lawns, and we didn't feel like there was a reason to have a gate other than for the winter people who might be walking, and they would be parking in other areas and probably coming on different ways.
Yeah.
We were just hoping, again, to deter people from going into the streets and the neighbors' yards, searching for balls or whatnot. So hoping that would be an additional deterrent, that there's no way to get out there.
So,
All right, so I will try to, so we should probably have, I'll try to talk to Mark, I guess, and Bill.
just,
see if we
again, if you just do
can
a
go out
rough
for a
sketch
quick
exactly
visit.
what you want, because it can go like this, you can offset it down, so it looks straight across here, you can take some material out. There's so many little options and, again, if it's, I'm guessing it's a difference in the middle it bows down to maybe anywhere from 18 to 24 inch difference, so you can have a gap in there. How do you want that to look? Again, it just poses other questions that might come up. And something I really don't want to answer for the town.
Right, that makes sense. Any additional information on the trees that we've talked about?
Yeah, the trees, I sent you an email,
Mhm.
and in which case, once I get to that, it's like. I didn't think it was gonna be big, much, instead, I probably did not ask her the right question. I said, hey, there was spruce that are there now, blue spruce, they're going up the right side, thought it'd be nice to continue that.
Mhm.
It would look nicer. And I guess they're not considered native to Massachusetts, therefore they're native to Colorado. I didn't know it had, well, I didn't know it had to be Massachusetts, but I didn't think it was an issue. Then it started getting into the plantings, the email, I have the email here, but the person I talked to at the town,
Mhm.
started getting into, it sounded like the planning board has to approve and design it or see it, in which case, once I get to that, as I told you before, I'm only going so far. And,
Yeah.
I think it's best for somebody else to talk to them.
Okay.
Okay, I just thought, again, I probably should have asked what type of evergreen is acceptable, but the way it sounded to me is like they wanted input where they're going. Or if
Oh,
they could put
really?
them
I
in.
thought they just had a list of the approved.
They gave me
trees.
a list, but they said she wanted more information. I didn't really reread it.
Yeah, not
Did you
gonna know
wanna-
where the best place is from a.
But it just sounded like they wanted more input or, it says, provide me a bit more information as to where to plant the trees, are they along the back of the golf parking area? And it's like, I didn't mention anything about the parking area. I have attached landscape plans from public safety building, and I told her it was out on the golf course, my original email. And then she said that wasn't native. Then she started talking about public safety, how much they had input, and I just don't want to cause something that doesn't need to be there, because sometimes I get along with people.
I mean, who should we be reaching out to?
The first I reached out to was Karina Quinn. She's the one who responded to me with, I think do you know her?
Corinne is the town planner.
Yeah,
The
that's who you told me to call first.
planning board is very focused on trees.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
they, as part of their site plan review for new developments, they require a landscape plan. And they require trees, plants that are native to New England. And there's a website called Go Botany that is the reference point for that. And so if you.
Yeah, I have that. I looked at it, it only showed one tree.
If you want to plant
I
something,
didn't understand.
but developers use that for lots of fairly complicated landscape plans, so you need to look farther on that. Because
Yeah, then it said the planning board is more concerned with the public space, which would be along trees and stuff along the streets. And so it kind of got me confused. That's all.
Well, they're responsible for the public shade trees or the
Correct.
streets. But when somebody does a development project, they typically have to provide a site plan with landscaping plan that the planning board will review and approve. And they ask for native plants. And so if it's listed on the Go Botany website as a native, then it is, okay. But it's not clear to me where this falls in terms of
Their responsibility.
requiring that. Yeah, so Karina is the town planner. Her bias usually is to say it's part of our jurisdiction. So I don't know how you.
Well, it is town property. That's the reason why I didn't want to get into it.
Yeah, so,
I didn't want to say something, that's all.
yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I guess it probably wouldn't hurt for you to talk to Karina about it
Okay.
and make the pitch is you think this is a, basically replacement kind of deal.
True, it's not new.
and
This
not
isn't a
to
new, this isn't,
replacement. And
right, it's
so
not new development.
I would start with the assumption that this doesn't really require oversight and see if you can win that argument.
Okay.
And if you can't, then it gets more complicated, unfortunately.
what's her last name?
Quinn, Quinn, Karina.
And she also CC'd M. Latrell.
Mimi Latrell is the chair of the planning board.
Okay, so she's CC'd her.
And again, you might, pick a few trees that you think might be worthwhile and look see if you can find them on the Go Botany website.
Right, because when I get it, it's, I didn't see where the link was to other trees. It just showed me one deciduous tree. And
Okay,
that's what I'm not looking for.
but they got, a zillion trees on Go Botany.
Right, I just didn't know she was recommending that tree. And that's why I didn't want to get into it.
Okay, well, again, find a couple that you think work on Go Botany, and if you can go into that conversation and say, we looked at Go Botany, this tree is a native to New England, we think it's fine, so let's go ahead kind of thing, as
Yeah,
opposed
okay.
to take a look at it and tell us what to do, which could be more problematic.
Okay, yeah, rather than asking what you think, come in with a plan
Have
and.
an answer,
ask
have
for
a
approval.
proposal, that's right, yeah, that fits the requirement, which most people, at least in my experience, have been able to find stuff on Go Botany that works. People have gotten into trouble. They've gone ahead and done stuff without checking, and then the planning board gets unhappy about it, and they go back and forth on it. So,
Okay. Okay, I don't know, I think we tabled the reminder at the golfer check-in. We talked about this briefly, just whether to add additional verbiage.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's whatever you want us, it be something that we see what the verbiage you want and, what's acceptable and stuff like that for all parties.
right. Onto the maintenance projects.
Can these are actually capital projects. They're not maintenance. There's a difference between capital and maintenance.
Okay,
Maintenance is something that's ongoing. Capital is, it requires funds from the,
okay.
municipality.
I just think of it as maintaining the golf course, but I will make.
Yeah, it is, but and when you get into construction and stuff like that, that's why we like, and we put things down on paper, sometimes it's best to have appropriate language.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Feel free to make any
Okay,
suggestions, corrections, whatnot. I am totally open to those. So we talked about a couple of these, so the fifth hole T complex and cart path, further T complexes, but pretty much all of this, requires a site visit from the engineer, correct? Or
Correct.
the-
golf course architect,
Right.
and basically it depends on, we're trying to figure out what, with, the available funds that you might have, the best way to go about this. Is, we do suggest doing it hole by hole rather than try to do them all at once. I think the outlay of capital would be a little bit greater than, what you might have at one time.
Right, but you wanted like a larger plan from the architect and then, okay, we're gonna do this year, this year.
I think it's best to hire the architect per hole.
Oh, per hole, okay.
Yeah, well, we talked about getting a 10-year plan.
Yeah,
We're specifically talking about getting money earmarked for, plans, present plans. Stuff like we already brought up Ts, the 3 Ts.
mhm,
There's other stuff, car paths,
Mhm.
throughout the golf course.
Yep.
And all the Ts behind 3 and 4.
Yep.
Which would be separate. I think what my suggestion is to earmark or get approval to look into getting the architect on hand, which usually I would probably say on the high end, just so you know, for budgeting,
Mhm.
it's probably gonna cost $8,000 to do one hole. That's probably high. They usually do the percentage of what they believe after they do the plan, see everything, is what they believe the price is gonna come in at. And then they usually account for like 10%. That's really what their charge is. So it's kind of tough. That's what I'm saying. It's so, and we want, and I think it would be best interest to do the 5th hole first, which we talked about.
mhm.
And just do the plan for the 3 Ts on 5. Which that way we might stay under some thresholds required by the town and by municipal laws.
So we would, first.
Appropriate,
A site visit,
correct.
so,
They've already had a site visit, so they've seen it.
yes,
So what we need to do is approve the town to acquire an architect to come in and hire one to come in to do the plans. Do another site visit and then do more specifics. We did a general look, go through. Which case that would be, I think would be best too, is, Sam, I'm not too sure whether they have to approve the money or just approve the fact that, yes, we need to have an architect. Do we need to have a value to that?
Not sure, Mark Purple. Probably
So could they actually approve that and then find out later they couldn't? I'm just saying, to move things along.
Yeah, I would talk to Mark about the process.
Okay,
Mark is the best one to,
well, then I would say then if either that or you say, but they could approve up to $8,000 for hiring an architect, then send it to
yeah,
them.
you could potentially do it that way, yeah.
If that's an option, I think that'd be to get things moving. Cause there's other things happening in town, which we've mentioned.
So the 8K would be just
Architectural
architect fees. Okay.
Correct, and that would include a site visit, do the plans, and then multiple probably 1 or 2 site visits during construction. I think that would be on a high end, but just in case type thing. And then obviously, once you approve it, bring it to Mark, and,
So,
I think he'll negotiate with the architect.
okay, so you're planning to go back to the architect that we've been dealing with?
I think
before.
that's probably best for this type of small project,
Okay,
because most architects want the big ones, $1 million projects, 100,000,
Right.
and that this isn't. Only because you use the revolving fund for financing.
Do we know who the architect is?
I do have this, I have the information.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right, and again, that's up to Mike Purple, as far as all that is concerned, I think selecting would be up to the town, whether they have to contact two other architects and things like that, I believe that'd be all up to the town to do.
Yeah, when I
Or
talked
me
to him about
supply the information,
yeah, when I talked to him about it before, I think we were happy with them previously.
yeah,
and,
I think it's best business practices too, at that. With that money,
right,
so-
so,
but that's how whatever they operate their business plan, the town does.
yeah. I don't know if because they've already been engaged with them, do they
Correct.
need to
That's
offer?
why, that's where it comes out of best business practices.
Okay,
But is that possible to take a vote now, or does that have to wait?
I don't know, let me talk to Mark.
Okay, because we're moving into a time, the reason being is that the time period now will move to next year. If we do it quicker, we might be able to get something in here this year. That's all I'm saying. So now you're looking at next fall. Or, sometime you really don't want to do them in the early spring, just bad experiences with, doing construction early spring.
How late can it be done into the fall?
Excuse me?
How late can it be done?
Usually sod growers go to December. And basically that's the number one thing is the sod.
Yeah.
Again, now you're looking at moving later into next year. I don't know what's gonna happen next year, what's gonna happen next month, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or tomorrow.
Great.
yeah, I think we're bumping up against the end of the season, right, because you guys, we closed.
True,
in
that's why I'm
November
just saying, it'd be
because
nice, to get them on board, at least you have them on board, and then if we can get things started this year, we do, if not, then it's not practical. By the time everything's.
We still have to go through the planning board still have to approve the funds again. I mean, the town,
The town does.
select board, I mean.
Correct,
select board.
so you have to get it for the next selectmen's meeting.
Right,
there
to
about-
get, yeah.
Right,
But again, because I don't know how the town works as far as appropriating money for certain things.
and the next select board meeting is next Tuesday, right? Cause are you going, Brenna, to the next select board meeting to get sworn in, so to speak, or?
Oh, is that the process? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I'll probably be there. Yeah. I will be there.
I asked them to put it on the agenda.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so I will talk to Mark about select board approval of funds.
I guess I see John's point. Do we have, as a committee, do we have to, before we can even approach him, we have to vote, right?
Should we vote on an amount? You said 8.
Right, I
Yeah.
would say 8,000 is a pretty good figure for what we want to do.
So we-
I'm just guesstimating what I think, I took a look at it and, just from, here, there and everything else, and we can, I think that's a safe figure.
So we can approve the 8,000.
Up
We have
to
to take it,
8,000.
we can take
Right,
it
that
to
doesn't
Mark,
mean
then
that-
Mark
right.
has to take it
Right.
to the planning board.
Right,
Not the planning, the
But I
select
think
board.
I think he can't do that until
Until
we
we
approve
approve
it.
it.
So if we approve it today, then at least,
Right,
Oh, that's true.
then it's his,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of.
if you want to be
Out of
safer
our
and go to
hands.
9,000, might be better, and then whatever it is, it
Or a
is.
nice
You know
round
what I
number
mean?
like 10.
No, you don't want to do that.
No, stay under.
You do 99.99.
That's all right.
So we make a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Yes,
I make a motion to approve $9,000 toward
Yeah, I
architect.
think it's safe.
architect, firm.
A second.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I will take that to Mark. Um. Any other updates? So the laser leveling and the resod of the second tee,
Second tee is probably gonna be done in-house. Basically, we're gonna be able to do that. Probably but this fall sometime.
okay,
So that would be maintenance, not capital.
Correct, it won't be
Yeah.
correct.
so I need.
So you don't need to worry about that right now.
So I actually need like those two sections here, of maintenance and a capital. That's-
Right, we will put that into maintenance,
Okay,
okay? And that has been, we're allowed to do that through, SVT.
Yep.
Okay, so that,
yeah, the,
that's ongoing.
ongoing, yeah,
Resub.
um. And then cart path, those are a longer term sand traps we talked about.
Yeah,
like
we
the
just I just took a
5-year.
look at them again, and it might be something that we, do, up to certain figures. Do that piecemeal, away from the project, so it doesn't go out to bid, keep that price down. And, those projects are more like, we might be able to get done a little bit more quickly. Except I would wait until around the tees that we wanted to improve. We'll do those car paths afterwards, so, because it doesn't make sense to put it down before you do construction.
Right,
And then, like this existing areas, like I said before, from 7T backwards to the 4th behind there, that area that, it's all rutted out and haven't raised, everybody goes over the same spots. You
right,
get
but with the
bumps, it's a lot of
fencing
maintenance.
going, ongoing.
But once you decide the fence, then we put that in, so, that would be the order there.
Yeah.
We could also get some pricing and maybe do some more this fall up on 6, just near the car paths, just to get rid of all the gravel. And again, that was okay by SVT. They not okay, but allowed to do the asphalt paths with their approval, obviously.
All right, great.
You know.
And around, after the second green, that,
That'll be a little bit longer thing, and that T is on board to be done.
That's
We can do
right.
some of that, but again, that is probably gonna have to, that will have to go through conservation
Right.
process there, putting that, going out to everything.
right,
Is that considered maintenance or
Excuse me?
is that considered maintenance?
No, that's capital.
capital.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yep, that's gonna be an expenditure of money. That'd be, probably above $10,000. I know it will, so.
Okay. Any other updates, projects, anything?
And then, like I said, there's just other things that, you might want to take a look at doing. And again, I want to emphasize, the golf course doesn't need many changes. So doing a 10-year improvement plan should be a maintenance plan. Just making sure all these things, that the little things are done. The tee is the biggest thing, as we all know. The number of rounds is doubled, more than doubled since, probably tripled since it was actually designed and put in with these small little tees. Keeping the golfers coming back, which is more important. So it more or less a after, we already know what the main things need to be done. We might want to just look at a maintenance plan, just so hey, doing the traps every 5 years, which we mentioned last meeting. They will need to be, and that would be probably, we just hollow them out, put sand in. They're eventually gonna have to be resodded, pull all the sod off, remove again, probably another 3 or 4 years, because they've been in now 2 years, 1 year, 2 seasons. So. Just something to look forward to in the future. Irrigation, getting that in.
Yep.
And obviously, again, I've owned some cart paths. Hey, maybe I'll get, while they're out here doing this, I'll see if the salesman can buy. Let's get a price for doing this one. And then go through the process and, see what we can do about, make it a little bit more convenient getting around golf carts. Rather than going through the bumps. In some areas, obviously,
And the
the areas
roots and
that
the-
take less time.
Yeah.
Hey, this is outside, basically outside conservation, need to know, except for Melissa. I don't, she'll just say probably no, it's not within their jurisdiction type thing.
So, John, you
go
said 8 to 9, but what about 9 going from the tee boxes?
That's in a tough spot.
That's a really
That,
tough
that would
spot.
have to go through conservation,
Yeah.
everything else, that would
Yeah.
have to go through, that's what I'm saying, that's why I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
That's something that we will, again, when I'm doing, it's basically, again, we don't have much room.
Right.
If I need to
Like
get
wetlands
material, I have
on
to bring it
either
here when we're
side.
closed, because I have to dump it in the parking lot. In which case I can't do it and work there, you know what I mean,
Right,
people
yeah.
coming in and out.
Mhm.
I don't have much room at the maintenance building. Because we have maintenance needs up there, there's always sand, some little, but that's
Right.
more for general maintenance, overseeing, top dressing. Getting the spots, I don't like to dump on turf, I'd rather be on asphalt. Just a lot easier to control. And, again, there's areas up there, if you wanted to make them wider, going up 8 with asphalt too. It'd be something we take a look at. Again, everything, I know that, everything has to go through SVT and Melissa, so
Yeah.
either way, just to, keep everybody aboard, but, again, I have, from the fall visit we had in the fall, paving gravel area next to the parking lot, that's acceptable, we can do that too.
Yep.
The fence along Metaswama has been approved by SVT.
Yep.
The planting of native plants and, repair and maintaining top paths at the existing form. So all those
Right.
things, right, that's just using the, aggregate, 3/4 inch disc material that we use the car paths and, excuse me, and doing with, without places to have a stockpile is, it's gotta coordinate some time, so.
So we can add more gravel to the ones that are gravel. We can't pave them without approval from.
Correct, I can't go outside of
Okay.
what's there.
You can't.
And the
pave
other thing
them.
we talked about was the fact that some of them have, eventually what happens, is they start getting longer and longer. So again, I'm not looking to, create a path from the second tee to all the way around.
To the
I just want
middle.
to clean up around where people access, so it's smooth, that's all.
Right,
In which case I've gone over that with SVT and Conservation Commission.
and they're okay with that.
That is, yes, from our understanding, yes.
How important or is the maintenance building, like rehab, reconstruction, whatever? I put that as a longer term, sort of a wish.
That is something that's probably gonna have to come up sometime. Right now, there's so many little things that need to be done, I think, and it's easier to get that earmark. We saw what it took just to get the maintenance. The irrigation system done.
Yeah,
It's probably gonna be a little bit more than that. I
right,
can guarantee you. You
Yeah.
might be to do a maintenance building, I don't know. Again, that's an outlay of money. That could be in the millions.
oh, really?
That could be a million.
I know the original plan was to have Assabet do that,
Don't know.
in which case then you only.
It's on their schedule.
Materials, I know that's, and I don't know, like, what the lead time is to get on Assabet's.
So project list. or
Project
whatever,
list,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I think you keep
Uh,
that simple though, whether, again, if, I don't know what the codes are and stuff and
Yeah.
building with the town sometimes. I just saw a project go overboard.
Yeah.
It was $2 million just to refurbish, so, so,
I
whatever.
guess, Mark Purple was involved in that initial discussion
Yeah.
on that, so it could be something to ask him.
Yep, and then, again, something like that is probably, a maintenance building could be. Again, depends what you wanna call it, you can call it cold storage, might come out of different things, might be a lot less money. Cold storage and, limited heating. Again. A lot of different stuff, but I'm just saying that price, it could be anywhere. It could be 100,000, a couple 100,000 to, $1 million, probably some of that range.
It might not hurt to get that on Assabet's radar, though.
Yeah.
It does take lead time, typically a few years.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you never know what might interest them. They might have interest in a larger project like that over a couple of year period kind of thing. And so if you ask, get them thinking about it, they may have an opportunity to do something there versus going in once you've got some money lined up or whatever and say, can you do something? They say,
Right.
yeah, we're filled up. We wish you'd have talked to us 2 years ago.
Yeah,
We
that's why I
could have done
figured get it
kind of
on
thing.
their
So,
list, yeah, because they loved it when they did the clubhouse.
Yep, they did a big thing for the senior center here
Right.
that was very well done, very well received. They really enjoyed working on that.
Yeah.
And so they seem to like to come to Southborough, so it doesn't hurt to talk to those folks and at least get their interest going.
Yeah.
And again, you ought to talk with Mark about that just to get, him in the loop. But you
Every
could certainly-
meeting I have a list of questions. for
Yeah,
Mark.
a long meeting with Mark.
But again, to get a subgroup here to go into the Assabet folks and talk to them about what you want. Earlier rather than later, couldn't
Makes
hurt.
sense.
All they do is can say no, and then you're no worse off. So, but you never know what they might want to do.
Alrighty, so that was under maintenance building. Any other updates? Anything anybody wants to add? Nope. No need this. Tony needs to drop off, so. And any public comments?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Okay,
You guys looked in, are you aware that there's an article to change the way the money is distributed from the golf course? It's supposedly going in the warrant. Now, I don't know if it's been finalized. What was approved initially was that selectmen would be in charge of the money and would be spent on the golf course. I believe the article is in there, it's been explained to me. Is the way it reads now is the selectmen will have the authority to spend the money on any project they want, whether it's the golf course or anywhere else. Okay, and I think it needs some looking into. And we're talking long-range projects. We're gonna be sharing the money with a fire truck. It's a little different situation.
That's not quite the way I heard it, Dick.
All right, well, I haven't seen the article.
It is still under discussion. The proposal that I'd heard was that they wanted to take the first X dollars, and the number I heard was $75,000 in the annual payment from the management company to the town, and put that in the bucket for golf course maintenance. And anything over 75,000 would come back to the town as a repayment of the funding for the original purchase of the course. I don't know that that number is firm at this point, but that was the concept at least. So the thought that I'd heard was that nobody's talking about taking all the money that comes out of the golf course and putting it in the general fund.
Where this, initially, 840 people voted for the golf course. Some of them were sorry they did, but
Yeah,
there was never any mention of owning the town money.
I understand. Yeah,
Okay, we're talking a maintenance building, we're talking tees.
yeah.
This
yeah.
gentleman would like something done for himself,
Yeah.
you know.
I
I don't think it's the time for the town to be taking the money back, if you want a successful golf course.
Yeah.
All right.
Understand.
What, and they, here's the other way I look at that. I consider this a friendly board.
Yeah.
Okay, other than one individual, maybe a non-friendly board. Okay, basically, we're giving them the reins, okay, there'd be no money for him, there's no money for anybody. I think it should stay the way it is, it should be spent on the golf course.
Well,
We
again,
can't pay back $4 million, that's ridiculous.
so
We don't ask for school to be paid back. 20 million at the fire station is not being asked to be paid back. And I don't think they should be doing it to the golf course.
And they didn't buy the property in order to have the golf
No,
course.
they
They
didn't.
bought it in order to do this building.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, and the golf course was either gonna be open land or a golf course, and if it was open land, the town would be paying for the maintenance of that land. Our tax dollars would be paying to maintain that, because you can't just let it go wild. You know, so the town,
and again, that conversation is one to have with the select board.
okay,
So I'm just saying, that's what
yeah,
I
so we
heard.
should be
So
watching to see when it's
And,
on.
you know, basically it's going on, if it is on the warrant,
Yeah.
which I understand that it was set up to be put in as an article.
It's not clear to me how that turned out, but there was conversation about that, yeah.
All I'm saying is, what was it, 27th of October?
That's a special town meeting, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where it was going.
Yeah.
And I've talked to different people. Nobody seems interested in going there to vote. Okay, so you basically can stop the thing if you put a vote in and it doesn't pass. That's what I'm saying, but it's gonna take the committee. When we probably need some of your group.
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
absolutely.
The first question though is for Mark, what is there an article for special town meeting for that?
Right.
And if so, what does it say? Take a look at that, see what you think about it, and then you can comment.
I've been listening to the selectmen's meetings. That's where I got my information.
Yeah.
It was discussed.
Yeah, it was discussed. Yeah, I heard that too. But again, I'm not.
I don't
sure
have
exactly
privy to what was actually written in there, so I don't know.
I don't either.
But I know it's
Well, it has to
closing
be
in on the
public.
date. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
know.
it's available. Mark has a copy of the warrant draft as it's late in its latest version.
Okay.
It's a public document, so you can get that from him for that article and see what it says. And go from there.
I mean, I agree. I think that, obviously we want to prioritize maintaining and our, capital improvements. But I also think that, we have a lot more than was anticipated, and it would be nice to share the wealth, so to speak, to fund other, help fund other towns, whether it's.
Can I interject here? If I'm so done with the amount of golf balls I'm getting, 460 balls this year. I counted them before this meeting.
Okay.
So I'm seeing red every time you guys talk about spending money on anything other than fixing this problem. It is so unfair what you guys are doing, the town. I mean, you're putting a blind eye to this. St. Mark's was a much better neighbor. When we had damage, they took care of it. You guys do nothing. And I don't want to hear anything about a study. 460 balls, there's no study needed. Park your cars in my driveway and see how you like it. Your brand new cars. And it's just nothing has been done. How many years this has gone on? Nothing has been done.
Gail raised her hand. It showed on the.
Gail, can you hear us?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. Well,
Hi. I agree as another neighbor on Lattisquama, we were part of buying this parcel and saving it as open land and as a golf course. And I agree that St. Mark's was a much better neighbor than the town. So much of it has fallen into disarray. And I was speaking to the man who runs the golf course this morning and saying, sort of it equates to if you are our neighbor. And if you had a house across the street from you that had gone into disarray and was painted chartreuse green, you would be able to go to the city council or the town and say, we have a neighbor issue. We've been talking about the same thing for how many years? I don't know. I mean, how many years has this been going on and nothing is being done? And then today, somebody told me that the fence has been approved. When do we get to hear what it's going to look like, how long it's going to be? I sent a picture this morning to, I don't know your name, that I texted this picture of, if you intend to put more fence, where's the money going to come from to maintain this fence, to make it look appropriate? I mean, you should see how the fence is not taken care of. It's a much bigger problem. And like you said, we've been talking about another meeting and approvals and this and that. This has been going on. Are you just waiting for us to just get tired of talking about it and do what you want? I just don't get this process and how it changes. And when do we get notified? I only know about this because I was outside this morning and went inside and looked that there was a meeting today. When do we as abutters know what's going on? How are we notified?
I don't think
You
it's
can-
required that we.
You can sign up on the town website to get any notifications for like agendas posted for the golf course committee. You can do that for any town committee.
You know, when you wanted to do other things on the other side of this golf course, I received as an abutter a certified or registered letter saying these changes are projected to happen. Why isn't that happening when you decide what kind of fence is going up? What makes this different? Why haven't we, as every neighbor on the street, been notified about anything? Never mind just the meetings, but when a decision is made about what this is going to look like and what's the function, how are we not notified? Don't we have a say in how our neighbor looks to us?
I don't know that that's required.
If we don't have to go through SVT, then. They're the ones, when I did I went through SVT, that's who gave me the.
Conservation.
Conservation.
Conservation does.
Conservation required us on what you were talking about, Gail, that they required us to send out a butter letters. I just followed what the conservation said as far as that goes. They didn't require that for this. We didn't even have to go through them, so I guess that's why, as far as notification.
So we just have to guess. We just have to when do we get to have a voice in this? Like, what happens with that? I just don't understand how you guys are figuring all of this out behind our backs.
I don't feel we're doing anything behind anybody's back. What?
Today, somebody told me the fence has been approved and they're putting up a 12-foot fence. Really? When did that get approved? By who? How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to be? I came to the meeting in August. Last I left off, you were going to put trees in various strategic places to mitigate the balls coming into our yards. And we still talked about a removable screen. Okay, next I hear is today, a 12-foot fence going in. You can't even take care of the fence that's already exists there. There's no money. I wound up having to take into my own hands, clearing the fence across the street from me with a clipper to get rid of the poison ivy myself, because the town, the DPW says that they don't own it, then the golf course says they don't own it, and it's just been back and forth, and I'm sick of it. It's just ridiculous. You know, we spent a lot of time getting this road to be a scenic road, to be able to buy these 60-something acres as open space. Like, what happened? It all fell short. Now you're talking about, well, there was money, supposed to be appropriated for maintenance. That's right. When we decided at town meeting, however many years ago, to buy this, it was supposed to be for open space and the golf course and to be maintained. What happened? Who answers to this? And please stop telling me to go talk to Mark Purple. I'm one voice. It's just crazy. How does this change? I'm sick of it. Round and around and around and around for how many years is it? 5, 6 years ago? How many years ago was it that you were going to put up a screen? 3, when I got hit in the face with a ball? Come on. You wouldn't like it if your neighbor just kept telling you the same thing over and over and over and over and nothing changed. Where does the buck stop? That's what I want to know. Who do we talk to have a plan that we as neighbors can agree to? There shouldn't be 460 balls in his yard. That's crazy. I don't count because I keep them outside in a bucket or throw them back on the golf course. But this whole thing is just so frustrating. And you probably hate hearing from me at this point, but honestly, if you ran a business like that, you wouldn't be in business. It's just the most ridiculous.
The safety committee is just ridiculous, that the blind eye That I can't believe.
Right,
I mean.
all of it.
I mean,
All of it.
regardless of the look, the safety is, it's like inexcusable what's allowed to happen.
Can I address that if you don't mind? The
Sure.
safety- Okay. So, and Gail, I apologize, and I promise you, I'm not trying to be antagonistical. But I don't know, I've been on the committee 2 years, maybe? 2 years, okay, so I don't know what happened prior to that. So I apologize for predecessors, I don't know. But since I've been on the committee, I know that we've gone out to that area with you. I personally have gone out and looked at that area. We all agreed. We were all appalled what happened to you. I was here when that happened. We, like I said, we all went out there more than once, went out with the architect. All agreed something had to be done. That other areas, and I'm not discussing yours right now, just for a minute, because it all started there. That we had a fence in other areas. Didn't have a fence there, directly in your front yard, needed a fence. Everyone agreed with that. Did it take a long time to try to figure out what kind? Yes. The problem came in, I feel, when we decided, yes, a fence did need to be done, but you didn't want a fence because you wanted a removable screen. We had to research that. That was decided not by us. It was decided by the architect and the professionals. I'm no professional. That a fence is what would work best, and that a removable screen, it wouldn't, you couldn't keep up the maintenance of it, it would tear, etc. So, and I know that you don't want a fence, but now that door's been opened, and now, and you're right, there's safety not just of you in your yard, but people walking, St. Mark's students, so.
And
That's
if there's
why
any
we're-
indication that you're gonna take care of this fence or not, it's been 2 years of me writing to the DPW to say, hey, like, who is going to clean this up? So if there is any it's one thing to put the fence up, okay? That's just one concept, part of this. But to allow these fences, who is going to take care of them? I mean, give me a break. Look at this street. This is a scenic road that looks like crap. Because one hand says it's their responsibility, the other says it's not. Somebody says they're allergic to poison ivy, so they don't clean it. Are you kidding me? Put on long pants like I did, and long sleeves and gloves, and take care of it. How can this fence be approved without a maintenance plan? It's going to be worse. The whole thing is just absurd. There is not a master plan. I was on the planning board 20 years ago. There is no master plan for this, and therefore it is really problematic. The buck has to stop somewhere. I appreciate what you've done in looking at all of this. When I left the meeting last time, we talked about mitigating the problem with some trees and signs, et cetera, et cetera. Then today I find out it's been quote approved that a 12-foot fence is going up. I said, really? How? Where? What's the access going to be for all the sledders who this is the lowest point of the yard? I could go on and on about, why a fence here won't work. But who's listening? What's happening? How does this end? I'm so frustrated.
So how do we move forward? Like, I just, like, I'm beside myself. Like,
Me too.
I'm not take legal action with this.
Yep.
Then that's what I suggest. I mean, I don't know what else to
I
say.
don't know what
All
else
the
to
neighbors
do.
get
My
together
hands
and
are tied.
go to the town.
My hands are tied. It's like you guys, nothing's happening. And
Right.
it's just not right.
It's so frustrating.
It's like that you live there and deal with it. I mean, and I love it there. I love the golf course, but fix this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that we can help you guys in terms of, like, obviously the fence is just one piece, but then, there's been talk about trees, there's been talk about moving tees, there's been talk about I know in the past you had mentioned like St. Mark's had kind of coverage for damage, so like they would take care of it, which there's, that doesn't seem to be a bucket these days. Is there a way that like we kind of can maybe help you guys and say like, discuss maybe as kind of the abutters and say like, hey, this is the things that could potentially alleviate some of the issues. I mean, the main goal is just to get the balls out of the yards, prevent people getting
That's
injured.
that's the,
prevent-
excuse me, but that's the main goal. There are other
Yeah.
goals too. Okay, we
Yeah.
all have these properties on this scenic road. I personally bought this house for the view, for the
Mhm.
light. Okay, now, okay, I know that everything on the golf course is not because of Gail Tannenbaum and how it's going to look. But perhaps when you say, what can you do? How about you find out where the buck stops? Okay, because we can talk all day long with you, and I appreciate what you've done. Okay, but you are powerless, really. So maybe I don't know, if you call a meeting, you send out a registered letter to all of the abutters. These are what we want to we want to have a meeting with all of you to discuss safety, how it looks, access to it in the passive recreation times of the year. Like maybe somebody from the golf course committee has a meeting with all of us, to schedules a meeting and says, what do you want on this agenda? And we as a group put together a list of what we want to put in this agenda, and we talk where somebody is listening. I think we're just so sick of, it's one thing to talk, but there needs to be a master plan here. You wouldn't make a development and not have a master plan of how it's going to be landscaped and how people are going to get to it and what's safe and, what's compliance and just all of it. We talk about all this stuff in piecemeal. And I can tell you, a 12-foot fence with no plan of maintenance or who owns what, I would be opposed to it 100%. Because if it looks like the picture that I just sent over to you, which is just laden with weeds, and I had to go out there with my own chainsaw. And I thought, fine, if you want to come over and give me a hard time because I'm cleaning this up, do it. Bring it on. I was so sick of asking. So you tell me how it works now. I don't know. I'm not on this committee. All I know is I'm incredibly frustrated. As many of us on the street are. For those of us who have lived on the street for 20 years, we've gone through so many things to make this a scenic road. No truck exclusions, because it is one of the most beautiful roads in Southborough. It's why we're all here. And it looks like it's just completely neglected. If you had neighbors like
The
that,
road
you would
part of
hate
it
it.
is not the golf committee. The road part of it, it's not the golf committee.
That's
You
what
have
they
to talk
say.
to The DPW, that is
I
not.
have for 2
Well,
And pretty
years.
much, okay, but you can't come and yell at us.
It's
It's
not,
not
yeah,
ours.
and pretty much I remember the town meeting.
That side of the fence, it's.
Right, it's, yeah.
I mean, I feel like we take the brunt of your anger and that's just not.
Listen,
I mean,
I have written to DPW, okay, DPW, and I've talked to the golf course committee. You've seen the letters that have gone back and forth with a drawing that says we own this, they own this. Okay, 5 feet off the pavement is DPW. Well, what are they doing? And what are you doing? And what is the golf course company doing? It's not working. Whoever is responsible, just take a look. It's not working. Whatever you're all doing, all these people, it's not working.
Every
This is
road
not
in the
going
town
to
is
solve anything
pretty
right
much a scenic
now.
road. I remember that town
So-
meeting, and they're all in the same shape with growth on the side.
So again, back to the, the safety, correcting this, what
Yes.
do you recommend us doing? Like,
What do you feel would help?
either moving the green or something. It's
Yep.
just,
We never had this
Well,
problem.
the
before.
seventh grade. The seventh grade.
Yes, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, move it in front of that oak tree or whatever that, you know, it's bad.
How about trying to mitigate this with nature instead of metal fences that are gonna be ongoing, cost
We are
prohibitive?
trying to do both. We are doing both the trees and the fencing.
Yeah, but the fencing doesn't come with any maintenance. You see, that's where the
You don't
problem.
want the fencing because it ruins your view.
That, okay, if I had to live with it, I would have to live with it, but what I can't live
To
with,
live with it.
the lack of how it's maintained and what you've allowed to happen, not you, golf course committee, but just generally what you have allowed to happen along this road. Drive up the road. I'm not making this up.
I think your picture looks nice, actually. It looks like a tree lined road. The trees grew through the fence and it looks
Oh,
like a
come
tree lined
on.
road.
It's all poison ivy and bittersweet growing. You
So-
can-
Every road in Southborough you drive down is like, I drive along Route 30.
We're not, it's not gonna.
It's not address committee.
We have, I don't know if you've been here for meetings, but
Yeah.
we have,
I try, it's just,
we have absolutely discussed all options, trying to move.
but how do we get, I mean, how do you get?
That's huge, I know, it's just, that's huge. It's huge, because now you're talking the eighth fairway. I mean, didn't we discuss this even, we brought the architect out. We said to him, what can we do? Can we do this?
They said that moving the, you know, the tee close to the street was gonna help. That made it worse. I
Yeah,
mean, whoever, I don't know, they kept arguing, saying, oh, no, it's gonna change. Bull, it did not work. It made it worse.
it made it worse. It's worse here for sure. It's way worse here.
2 houses down, they were showing me, he just got a new car, 3 big dents on the side of it.
Yep,
I mean, it's,
yep.
Is there maybe too, like, I know we've talked about, kind of the printed rules and kind of communication on, you know, not going to neighbors' yards and that sort of thing, but. You know, I've seen people out there with drivers, which just seems
and the golf
outrageous.
carts. coming up the
So
street.
it's like, you know, maybe there's additional communication on like what is an appropriate club to be using there, such that maybe that kind of helps mitigate it, as well.
We've been talking about things like that. All kinds of signage would definitely help. Let's start with the cheapest and easiest things to do and see what happens, but nothing happens. Nothing happens. And you wind up with 460 balls in your yard. I wind up getting hit in the face with a bazillion balls in my yard and nothing's happening. I have balls in
I've
my,
been hit twice. You were the witness.
What's that?
I've been hit twice.
Yes,
You came over one time.
that's correct.
I was talking to my neighbor with the 2 little girls in my yard and I got hit right off the knee. Like, out of, you know, no floor, nothing. Another time I got out of the car, I had 2 bags in my car. My daughter was playing lacrosse in the driveway. And the ball came and hit me right here. Thank God I had like a puffy jacket on. No,
Yeah.
you know,
No
it's
kidding.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I don't mean to be rude, but I have to.
You know, I have to leave my throat, quite honestly, so. It. I don't know the answer, but I just had to make, and I do have to go myself.
Okay. I appreciate your input.
All right, well, thank you all.
Okay. John, did we discuss, a higher fence in that area, or that was not feasible?
I don't know the town bylaws, and I don't recall whether, I think we did say, you know, what are you gonna do, 25 foot? I think it came up in hypotheticals.
Right,
I
right.
think
You said the
more
only
like
way that
1600, I think they said, I think they recommended 100 foot fence.
Yeah, it was, it's
Or
the
75.
only 100, the only thing that would keep
Eliminate the
everything in
problem
would
is
be 100 foot,
foot,
yeah.
in which case you'd have to take down all the trees down the
Right.
street.
How about when they have those nettings behind a what's it called, a driving range? Why can't we put up stuff like that? This way in the winter, when all the
Not
kids come out,
practical. It's
Why?
not a practical solution because
Why?
the
Why?
netting gets torn, animals get caught in it, and if you make it that large, there's just a lot of issues with netting. I know it seems like a good idea, but the more research that we've done, it's not a good idea. So you think that trees growing through fence looks bad, you want tattered netting flopping in the wind. It's not good.
Well, I just don't think, given the size of the height of these balls being driven, that 12 feet is gonna do anything. I have balls come over my house. So you're spending all this money. It's just not maintained. What happens when the paint starts to peel? Where's the money coming from to maintain these fences? What are they gonna look like? How frequent are the poles gonna be? When are you gonna talk to the neighbor
Are
about
coming up,
plan?
we are coming up with a drawing for what the fencing will be so that we can give it to the fencing company, so we know exactly where it'll be, the height it'll be, the material it will be.
I just don't think it's functional. I just really don't think it's sustainable. And if you,
Okay,
and if you saw how many kids, like, I'll give you an example, the other day in that tornado, okay? I can't tell you how many kids came off the golf course. There must have been like a school thing or something. And they were all running. Where are they going to come off the golf course? Right here, because it's the lowest point. How are they going to get on and off the course? How are the sledders going to get on and off what's supposed to be hours for passive recreation? Who's thinking about these things? It's one thing, I get trying to stop the wayward balls, but it's myopic to think that that's the only issue. It is not the only issue.
now it's one of many issues on our agenda,
Yes,
so.
sorry if
Um,
you think I'm a thorn in your side, but I'm really, really tired of these meetings and getting nowhere. You know, I've been a resident of Southborough since 1984. You know, I was on the planning board for 7 years. There's just no master plan here. And I'm just really, really frustrated. Anyway, I'm gonna go because there's no point to doing anything else, so. Let me
Okay.
know if you need our input as a neighborhood, you know, we'd be happy to all get together and send you something. If you, you know, send out a letter to all the abutters, when you finally figure out what you're gonna do and where the budget's gonna come from and who's gonna maintain it, et cetera, let us know. And then we'll have something to react to. But going through these calls over and over again is just pathetic.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, is there any other public comment? Our next meeting is October 14th. It's the day after Columbus / Indigenous Peoples' Day. Is that a problem for anybody, you guys? Anybody? Okay, just wanted to double check. So I guess a motion to adjourn. So second, all set.